One line. Okay, so I thought about we're live now and doing a discussion on recent controversies, so to speak. And I have Lady Siren with me. Say hello.
Howdy, guys.
So I'm sure you're a little bit more familiar with the first topic at hand. But I kind of wanted to talk about this because it's been kind of irking me lately. And now there's a female Doctor Who being casted. What do you think
Yeah.
think about it?
Well, I'm personally not a Doctor Who fan only because I know so many Doctor Who fans. I'm not one of those people to like jump on a bandwagon because it's popular. But one of the things that was brought up to me was that there have been previous episodes where Doctor Who was actually a female. Like she was the reincarnation was a female, whether it was just for a portion of the episode, whether it was an entire episode, I'm not sure. But people have told me that basically there was female Doctor Who's before. So I personally don't understand what the hype is. I also think that all these freaking recastings of how do I put it? Gender roles exist for a reason. There are certain things women can't pull off that men can pull off, and it's just I'm all for female badasses. I'm all for female lead roles. It's just it's aggravating to see everything recasted and redone just with a female as it. It's like we're basically being put as copycats, in my opinion. It's giving females a bad name.
Yeah, I actually saw a video of Steven Crowder. He actually did a video on where he basically took Atomic Blonde and some of the scenes where she basically kicks guys' asses who are professional killers in the movies, and he was basically kicked and tried to do that stuff while and the guy was who did it was a guy, and it didn't work. And like Atomic Blonde at least is an original movie, but even though I think even though it is in a movie setting, a lot of you have to suspend your disbelief to begin with because it is a movie. But he does have a point where this Charlize Theron in the movie is kicking like guys who are 30 pounds heavier or 50 pounds heavier than her, just like that, and just and all like gender swapping as well, where you have the women who do just as well as the guys. I don't know how you feel about all of that.
See, I personally like honestly women jobs that women do not do as well as men. Two jobs that I can think of automatically would probably be a firefighter. I'm not saying that there aren't firefighters, but it's really hard for a woman to be as good as a man. Because think about it, there are some situations where, let's say, you have someone who is 300 plus pounds, they're in a fire, get them out of the building because you only weigh 150 pounds, 120 pounds or something.
Mm.
Like, I weigh 120 pounds and I wanted to be a police officer. I still want to be a police officer. The thing that stops me is that I know I physically cannot do a lot of the things that the job demands.
Mm.
As good as, let's say, a friend of mine who can take this spot. I'm not saying it was a female friend, a male friend. I don't know. There are just certain people better than me, and it's just this generalization that females can do anything males can do. That is not true. You can just as good as guys, but a lot of times we're not built that way. So, and to see like I don't know personally, there are a lot of stories out there that these would make amazing books, stories, video games, whichever way you want to spin it, that have outstanding female roles that are extremely believable. My medium pieces that I wrote, I think it's called Know Your Story. I wrote about Laura Croft. Her original story was amazing and inspiring. She was an heiress that got what did she do? Stranded, and she was basically forced to survive on her own. She loved the thrill of survival so much that she became an archaeologist. Her parents didn't want that and disowned her. All the research in the original PS1 games, that was her hard earned work. It got to the point where it was well known that she turned down money just to take on missions for sheer challenge. That is a female that she went through it and she legit became who she is. My train of thought because of my nerves.
It's okay. Yeah, yeah. I agree because the new Tomb Raider movie, or no, not the movie, not I mean the game, is a really good example of like. She legitimately becomes a badass through struggle in the entire game, and it's not the cost
Yeah,
of
that's one
like
of the things I liked about the game. I didn't so much like the origin story because they changed it still, but right too much, I guess. But they didn't make her seem like completely like she kind of an archaeologist. She already got her degree and everything. She somewhat, I felt, know what she was doing more than the original story, but she was still out of her league, and that's why I it actually brought me back to the original game. I threw on my PS1 and everything.
yeah. And that's like when you, if you're gonna make female characters that are badass, you shouldn't do it of the cost of male character. I think that's why so many people are actually pissed off with these new roles where basically men are basically looking weak, and all the women are looking so much badass because that's my biggest gripe with Star Wars: Force Awakens is you have basically a Mary Sue in the lead role, and she even makes all the other movies like Anakin and then Luke who are like the most powerful ones, and look like total chumps because she learns everything in like 20 minutes and basically kicks everyone's ass. And now seeing that yeah, people want a female James Bond or just gender swapping like main characters. I mean, you can make arguments for Doctor Who being uh, is able to be a female by regeneration. I have a little knowledge to the character
Yeah,
at hand, but it seems to me more like that they did this because the viewership is going down and they want to try something new instead of improving their writing and making the show better. They just want to get attention and make more people or yeah get it more attention and PR for the show so that more people are actually gonna watch it. It seems like it's a cheap PR tactic if you're asking me.
yeah. That's all I think it is. Everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, trying to appease whatever type of people just so they can get more money. That's all it is.
Yeah,
That's all I see it being because it's not just with gender roles, it's with racial roles, it's with a whole bunch of things. Like my father was even griping about the new Star Trek. He's a huge Trekkie. Like my brother is even named after a Star Trek character. But of the political correctness or whatever politics is surrounding the new series, he doesn't want to watch it. A lot of Star Trek fans don't want to watch it. What people I see are tired of is that all the politics that is now seeping into our entertainment, and the things that we used to go to get away from that world, the politics, the economy, whatever, now it's being brought into used to get away. Touched Mass Effect Andromeda because I keep seeing videos about how correct and SJW it is, or whatever terms they're using. It's
Mm.
getting to a point where the movies, people aren't buying books. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and like that's why I don't have I kind of get disinterested with movies where you just have men basically being the punching bag of these 120-pound women in for no reason other than this female empowerment fantasy. No, no, I can kind of accept when if like the female character actually is badass, but not at the expense of everything else, and keeps her femininity. I mean, even look at Fast and Furious. Even though they're they're very. I mean, how should I put it? They don't take the movies very seriously, but the female characters they don't lose their femininity, so to speak. I mean, they're still badass and can drive and can punch and all that type of stuff, but they don't like the Michelle Rodriguez doesn't really punch the crap out of Vin Diesel just all of a sudden. Maybe I think they're trying to make women more like men, and men just like weak people in general. I don't know how you look at it.
Honestly, I don't even know how to look at it anymore. Like they're really trying to like switch the roles. I had my biggest um is lost it. Well
Yeah, I mean,
then.
you can also see I mean, movies and art in general with games as well, books also. Like you shouldn't dictate what either gender or sex, whatever is gonna has to be supposed to be because of politics. You should be writing characters because they're interesting, not because we need to have a black female who kicks ass. Like Marvel is a disaster right now because they swapped
Oh
out
yeah.
Thor. They have Mockingbird, who is basically a feminist now. You have Boar. They just made Boar the father of Odin Nazi or anti-Semite. You have Iron Man getting replaced. Yeah, uh, that right there is a disaster. And
When it
and
comes down to it all. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say when it comes down to it all, one of the biggest gripes that aside from the feminists griping about women is that they want things to be more realistic. And I guess my biggest thing is that a lot of the things that they're doing when it comes to the gender swapping just aren't realistic roles for women. They're just that's what upsets me
Yeah, I mean,
because you can have a badass realistic role for a woman. Look at Harley Quinn.
yeah,
Look at Batwoman.
yeah.
You can have a badass realistic role. You don't have to character and be you're a girl now or you're a man now or whatever you want to do to them.
Yeah, I mean,
Writers, Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. You're completely right because when you just like a character like the new what's her name, Iron Lady, Iron Heart, something like that. I can't remember her. The
I don't even know.
Riri Riri Williams or whatever her name is, who takes over for Iron Man. I mean,
Mm,
there is a space for someone like a black female character. That's not the issue I have. You can have make a strong female character, but it shouldn't be at the expense of like just move Iron Man out of the way. Because that's gonna piss off fans, because that's just lazy writing. You're just removing Iron Man and you're pushing forward a female character instead of Iron Man, and that's what people want. Same with Thor. Thor in Norwegian is a male name, so why in the hell it would like Thor be a woman? That makes no sense at all. Like it insults my ancestry and all of Scandinavia basically, and the lore that it's based on.
yeah, it really does. And people are honestly beyond sense. One of the other things that bothers me is that people are dictating how or trying to dictate creators of these things, their characters. As a writer, that bothers me because I have original characters. I have stories that I've written, and if someone were to go and tell me that my character is too skinny or my character is too white or something like that, because I put time and effort into coming up with the character, designing her backstory, and all of that. Two, this is my creation. It came from my head. This is how I envisioned her, and it's like, who are you? Creators should be thinking this. Who are you to tell me how to create creations? But then again, money speaks louder than words, so a lot of people, again, just jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what this is ultimately gonna destroy, is actually creativity in character writing. And Marvel, I mean, you're just gonna limit yourself if if the quota is gonna be you have you need a female character to for this to be acceptable. Like the slowly but surely removing everyone. I mean, Captain America is a Nazi right now. I mean, that's that's fun. That goes against everything the character actually is. Um, and like when
I'm
you
actually
limit
really
someone,
curious to check that comic out.
yeah. Well, but when you limit, like you say, you're a writer and you create stuff, but you have these SJWs who everything that get popular nowadays, they need a quota of some sort when something comes out, when something popular comes out, like say Spider-Man. I think I'm not sure, but Mary Jane is actually black in that one. I mean, the- uh, that's not like the biggest
Yeah,
biggest.
Zendaya.
Oh, go on. Oh, go ahead if you wanted to say something. Oh,
Saying that
did you?
it was I was agreeing with you. Her name was Zendaya.
Yeah, Cindy. Yeah, the actor. Yeah. But like, nobody bitched about like the new Dark Tower movie coming out, that Idris Elba is black, even though the main character is supposed to look exactly like Clint Eastwood. That's actually in the book, but and nobody is going out and complaining that. because it's black man playing that character. I haven't seen any backlash against it. I have pointed it out personally, but I haven't seen any backlash compared to, like, say, Jasmine, who are the Naomi Scott, who's been cast for to play Jasmine in the new Aladdin movie. She's basically she's half Pakistani or something, and half white. So but she was passing as white, from what I saw in and people SJW is complaining like.
See, that's another thing. They complain, but how many actresses and actors of a certain race or gender are actually available? Not going to stick an action hero like Bruce Willis in a role like something like the live action of Aladdin or something along that line.
Yeah,
Smith in Aladdin. That's better. That's a better comparison.
yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was like nobody bitched about Will Smith be playing a white character, but when Scarlett Johansson played the Major in Ghost in the Shell, it was, oh my God, it's whitewashing. Even though the race of the character in Ghost in the Shell is racially ambiguous, because her brain is Asian, or well, Japanese, or whatever you want to say. But her
Yeah.
body is basically whatever.
Yeah, she's like a robot.
Yeah, that's
If I
basically.
remember right. I haven't seen
Yeah,
it in a while.
the only thing basically that survived biologically from her is basically her brain, and rest of her is a robot. So she could have been any race, so to speak. Uh,
Hmm.
and when I saw the outrage with that Matt Damon movie, The Great Wall,
Hmm.
everyone complaining about, oh my God, that's whitewashing, even though the company and basically 95% of the actors were Asian. But and it was an original script. Basically, you had two outsiders being hired in that movie to come in and help the Chinese to protect, basically keep these sort of dragons or lizards outside of the wall. But that's racist as well. Like, make up your freaking minds. If it was a black, yeah,
Every time they make up their minds, they change it.
if it was a black transgender chick kicking ass, I mean, they wouldn't care at all. But because
Exactly.
the company that hired Matt Damon because he has star power, and they wanted, it's an original film, so it isn't beholden to anything except for that it's made by a Chinese company. That's yeah. Um, and now with like I'm gonna put these in the description, but I've seen a lot of articles the last week with people wanting James Bond to be female, and that makes no sense to me whatsoever. I don't know how you look at
People
it.
wanting what to be female?
James Bond.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because I actually talked
Yeah.
to.
I
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no,
Go
I
ahead.
was just saying I don't understand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cause I actually I went to the cinema last night, and watched War of the Planet of the Apes, but that's besides the point. But I actually talked before the movie. I actually talked to them like, do you guys know that there's talks about a female James Bond, and they were looking at me like I was insane. No, because that would make no sense whatsoever. And both of them actually had the same idea as me. They would have to make a spin-off of some kind of character that would be in the James Bond movie to actually make sense. because James Bond is first of all a male name, and it would have to be some sort of like MI7 agent or
Yeah.
something like that for it to even make sense. So yeah, I mean,
Trying to see it.
huh?
Huh?
What is? What did you say? I thought you said something. Never mind.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I didn't say anything. I was yawning.
no, no, because overall, it doesn't really make sense in these sort of movies, and when you see like like you said, I mean, females are better at doing something at some things than men, and men are better at doing some things than women, because we are a dimorphic species where you have women better doing things like than men, and men better doing things than women. That's just natural. And like these Hollywood people trying to like erase this biological line where you have 140 pounds women kicking ass of like 300-pound dudes. That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Like
Yeah, it really doesn't. I guess no, not even. I was gonna be like, I guess if like properly trained, but even that is like a real long shot.
yeah, I mean, you could yeah, you could actually be good in gunfights, but in actual fist fights, and I think women would have trouble kicking guys' ass, at least if, especially when they're professionally trained. But what people like in female characters is not when their femininity is hidden. It's when they're actually compared to the men, shown that they're feminine but also strong. Like say Leia, who was strong, independent. She was stubborn. She was I mean, and compared to Han and Luke, she stood out. And she was a woman, and she was different from those two. And she was like the person who had to fix their mess when they screwed up. So
Yeah,
I mean, when a female character is written like that, that's when people actually love it, because it promotes women in a good light, and doesn't bash the other gender despite of it. And Sarah Connor, I mean, she wasn't
Sarah
in.
Connor was great.
Yeah, I mean, in the first movie, she's basically just a waitress, and she picks herself up and basically saves herself in the end. And in the second one, she's really freaking bad and ripped to hell, and it isn't because she's trying to act like a man, but because she's a woman, and does badass thing. Ellen Ripley as well. I mean.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
yeah, go ahead.
see, these are kind of like these are the women that I grew up around. Like my father's a huge sci-fi fan, so I know Ripley, Sarah Connor. I'm trying to think of others off the top of my head, and I can't at the moment.
Lara Croft.
Captain Janeway, Star Trek. My idol that my father would walk into my room and I actually would recreate her weapons and redo the missions that I had played that day because I thought she was just so amazing. So these are the kind of women that affected my life and shaped who I was. These are women that I didn't, they had men to help them, they were, but in the end, they were thrown into basically had to fend for themselves. And even though they were women, they were able to do it their way.
Yeah,
If that makes
yeah,
sense.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, Alien is
That's what I admired.
yeah. I mean, the perfect example is Ripley in Aliens. I mean, everyone is out. She's the last one left, and nobody else I actually wanted to go back for Newt, the child in Aliens. But she went back for her, and everyone else was basically out. The Hicks was injured to hell, and didn't really have any like military training, but she outsmarted the aliens and got back to and even killed the queen in the end, and nobody else was able to do it, but
And see,
because
I feel like
go ahead.
that lag. I was just gonna say, I feel like that situation, that was like, see, that was something that I would personally think if we were to swap gender roles, it would be pulled off by a male role, a male character, not because of any reason, but just because, as a mother, now as a mother, I can see the maternal instinct Lee's decision, even though that was a kid. Back then, a lot of people might have seen that in that one scene, so to speak. And that's something that you can't pull off with a male character, just like, again, there are certain with a female character that only men can do.
Yeah, uh,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense because in the latter half of Aliens, it wouldn't have had as big of an impact if it were Hicks who did that in the end, and that's how you perfectly write female characters, and in the first one as well, she had never encountered these xenomorphs, but. She was
Yeah.
as terrified as everyone else, but you managed to use her intelligence to outsmart the xenomorphs basically. So I don't know. I mean, do you think that this is gonna be how should we say? Do you think the SJW politics or anything like that is gonna tone down in the future, or do you think they're just gonna ignore everything and just try to force these things through?
I would love to say that I think it's going to go down in the future. The way that the world is going, it does not look like that's going to be the case. And I honestly, unfortunately, think things are just going to get crazier and stupider and worse from here on out. It's really, really sad. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but they're gonna have to realize that this stuff isn't gonna sell make them money, because you see this year with Wonder Woman, which is a really good film. It's probably my favorite film of the year so far, because in Wonder Woman, it's not because she's a woman that she's strong and all that, but she's so compassionate and wants to help and all sort of things. She's different to Superman in that regard, and she. I mean, in the entire movie, she doesn't belittle or make Steve Trevor look weak. He she may she makes him look strong, and he makes her look strong, and they learn from each other. And when you compare that beautiful chemistry and writing on screen compared to something like Ghostbusters, That's what makes people enraged and apathetic to the sort of movies, because they don't really care about
Yeah.
I mean, Ghostbusters ended with they basically never before in the franchise they just killed ghosts, even though that's never happened in the original ones. And then they shoot the basically the Marshmallow Man in the dick, like a fuck you to men. Like Jesus Christ.
So I movie really, really hard. And see, I people in Hollywood are getting the message. Woman was a great movie. I saw it a couple of weeks ago. Um, there probably were some political themes that right over my head. Thank you very much. So it was really well put together. I do say that there were probably some political themes everywhere I look. There seems to be about a new political theme found in Wonder Man or something. I think people are just digging really deep. But franchises personally also have a lot to make up for. Just not just in terms of SJWs. I know a lot of comic book fans who are in the redoing of some stories, but that's a completely different topic. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I see the comic book movies as something different than like others. And when I look at other Hollywood movies, unfortunately, I see a lot of within them, and that's what bothers me. I
Yeah.
don't want to always see a comic book movie. Sometimes I want to see a horror movie though, but I don't necessarily like with Get Out. I don't necessarily want to see a horror movie. I can't even describe what Get Out was about because
Yeah, I'm also very like I like to watch movies a lot, and try to see what is coming out, and see what's interesting. But you never know if there's gonna be like a blatant propaganda, or like some sort of political message they're trying to squeeze in into the movies. So that's why I'm really apprehensive when watching movies.
exactly.
So like
Excuse me.
yeah, yeah, because when like the movies that are made here, like they don't even have anything close to the budget, anything like in Hollywood. But at least I know that they don't have any like real agenda. They try to create something different when the movies are made here where I live, and that's why I just don't like these like big buster movies. After I usually watch them after they've come done their run in cinema, and just watch them online somewhere or something like that, because you really don't know, because they all follow it's just bad writing in general. And the same goes for the gaming industry. All this this SJW crap, where I mean, just look back at Assassin's Creed, where the SJWs try to force in the co-op, like the this whole uproar that you couldn't play as a female in the co-op, even though you're basically playing the main protagonist, just with three other people. So you were basically playing him, but so it wouldn't have made any sense at all for and all these SJWs like ignored Assassin's Creed Liberation, and even the Chronicle games had a female, and they just ignored
Yeah,
that.
that's like when freaking when Battlefield 1 came out that you couldn't play as a female. I think it was well, a female in general. It happened in like World War I. There were no female soldiers. They were mostly medics and nurses. Accurate, but apparently fighting.
Yeah, yeah, you're completely right. That's what also got me. Like the main poster of Battlefield is a black guy, but there were hardly any black people in World War One. At least from like the European countries and even US. They didn't have any like minorities in the army. First of all, because there were way less back then, and also because they were pretty much racist. They didn't want black people in the army. So
Yeah,
that was also a big reason why they weren't part of. But you have like Dice is of course Swedish, so that's why you have a black person in uniform with a gun as like the main image of Battlefield One. Um, and yeah, and also with the Call of Duty, where you can basically play as a black female Nazi, which makes no sense at all.
that totally makes sense.
uh, you should basically just play a transgender black chick who is in a wheelchair, and then you basically checked off all the progressive stack, so to speak. Then you're at the bottom of the oppression
If the
Olympics.
new Call of Duty has someone in a wheelchair, I'm officially swearing off Call of Duty. Officially.
Yeah,
I've
yeah. I
already,
mean,
as I said, I already swear it off them now because I can't get past half of the things that are wrong with Andromeda.
yeah. I mean, Bioware is a conundrum on its own. Probably gonna buy Bio or Mass Effect Andromeda down the line, because I'm probably one of the biggest fans on this planet of that franchise of Mass Effect, because I even though the ending of Mass Effect 3 was iffy, I loved 99% of those three games. And just seeing what, I don't know what the clusterfuck that is Andromeda. It is such a slap to the face of everyone who loved that series. I mean, the original director of Mass Effect just bailed like a year before they finished or something like that, because he probably saw the light or what this project was gonna be like.
We're huge Mass Effect fans. My father has a tattoo. The only person in this house that has the game is my brother. We didn't. He didn't even Dragon Age fan fiction. That's all I write for right now. Dragon Age 4. I am asleep probably because Dragon Age is amazing. Actually know about like with Krem being transgender. I didn't learn about that until I actually read some fan fiction. So I give them props for doing that really well. They wanted to put in and like in your face out there. You only got to know about it by talking to that person. So that was really well done, and I had really wished they did that with Mass Effect Andromeda. But here's to hoping Dragon Age 4 isn't as bad.
Yeah, well, I didn't catch the first part. You turned a little bit to a robot. What was the first time thing about your father with the Mass Effect?
Oh,
Wha-
he has a tattoo, and that's how big of a fan he is. He
Oh,
actually
okay.
has an N7 tattoo.
Okay, yeah, because I bought a T-shirt as well with Mass Effect 2 because that's just such a big fan of that series, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah, we shirts and the hats.
yeah. Yeah, like you said, with I mean, a lot of people hated on Inquisition because of that trans character, but you only basically figured that out if you had conversations with Cram. I basically
Yeah.
I talked to everyone in that game and did all the conversations, and you only figure that out
Yeah.
from Cram after like several dialogues. It's not like a Mass Effect draw.
I stumbled across it.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I stumbled across it because a fan art page had actually posted something they drew of it, that they got this idea basically out of one of the conversations they had within the game, and I looked at it and I was, oh, that's cool. I didn't even know that. Again, nicely done.
Oh, you did a little bit, yeah. I mean, yeah, you don't really know that unless you really want to figure that out with a character. But in Mass Effect Andromeda, they did the opposite, where you just like the first conversation, yeah, oh, my name was this or Joseph or whatever that character's name was, and I used to be a guy. Like, who starts a conversation like that?
Yeah. Apparently, some of these millennials do now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I identify as a or a attack helicopter or whatever. That's what basically that's how they start conversations these days. So um, it, it just irritates me when I see games and movies. They just swap these roles for no other reason than to check off some sort of box. Oh, now we're good. We're progressive. We help minorities. And I saw actually a tweet the other day. I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, when I saw that now my sister or whatever can finally feel represented because of the Doctor Who casting, and I'm like, if you really are you really that weak of a person that you need to have confirmation of a fictional character to say that you're strong? That means just you're the opposite. That means you're weak. If you need fictional characters to say
You shouldn't
you go ahead.
you shouldn't need anyone aside from yourself to basically like validate you as a person. As long as you know who you are and you are comfortable who cares bullied in high school and was teased for basically being accused of being something she wasn't. So experience. I went through all of high school and I embraced the teasing because I knew the truth about myself and that's what got me through it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, characters like say Superman. He's probably the best example. He's like the perfect being, if you so to speak, and that's what you should strive for. That's what Superman is to always improve yourself, always be better,
Yeah.
always be good. These characters are supposed to inspire, not to validate. your own self-worth or whatever you want out of fictional characters, you should look up to these sort of characters, fictional characters, and get inspired to be better.
Yeah,
That's what they are for.
they are very inspiring, and there are even some comics that show us that even with how inspiring they are, basically they how do I put it? Superheroes and comic book characters and everything, but like always peachy great. So what do there are comics out there that show them that not even Superman can hold it together. Look at the entire Injustice series.
Yeah,
Superman is ruler of the world, slaying his child. Like even Superman couldn't bounce back from that. That's realistic right there. And even someone as powerful and inspiring as Superman can, if well, shit happens basically. And
yeah,
it's been a
yeah,
while since I read the first comic.
yeah. But you also have the game where it's also told,
So
where yeah, where he basically kills Joker and becomes evil. I haven't played Injustice 2, but yeah, I think also that
yeah,
that's very interesting. That even like the best people can break. That's also a very interesting take on characters, and that's how you should challenge characters. Like, not just gender swap them. They do something interesting with Thor or Iron Man, which puts
portray a
them in a
character.
position
Yeah,
where they're not what they seem, or remove the powers of Captain America and see how we really like, or something like that. Just mix it up, instead of this lazy crap where you just gender
yeah,
swap.
yeah. The gimmick. If they appease the people, should go the route of realism, and I don't mean that by shapes like that terrible Huffington. What was it? Huffington
Oh
Post
God, yeah.
article. Oh my gosh! But be realistic that they're not human, but they're personalities. They have a conscience. They have a heart. Essentially, are just like us. Message that I feel comics and movies and such should. Even the best of us can fall, or even someone is as small as Luke can arise to something greater. Messages like that are more of what we should be hearing, not guys can do.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
think,
you,
yeah, I think the interesting, you mentioning the BuzzFeed thing, or with them showing like realistic bodies. I mean, those realistic bodies wouldn't be able to be superheroes,
I
and
know, even just looking at a superhero and what they do on a daily basis, even a supervillain, body types wouldn't be realistic. They would be muscular and everything. And that I wrote, you go back into their histories with someone like Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn was the star gymnast of her high school. She got into college on a full gymnastics scholarship. That's the only reason why she is Harley Quinn right now. Important in certain things like how a character is made and what they look like and basic things like that, even though people don't seem to realize that.
yeah, and that's actually very interesting. And like the only character that I can think of that's like not really athletic, but uses his like wits to try to, like, someone like Batman is Penguin, and he's like, he's not like a physical threat to Batman, but he's like intellectual threat to
Hmm.
Batman. I mean,
And he
he
looks like a penguin anyway, so
yeah, that's kind of the point as well. But like you, not all
yeah,
even the villains or the heroes don't have these so-called
yeah.
realistic body types.
Sorry.
It wouldn't work. It doesn't work. You can't be it's not everyone can be like Penguin. That would be boring.
Yeah, like Batman can't be fat.
Yeah, he would like last 20 minutes.
Yeah,
And
the
I'm out of
I
here.
can't even like I I think one of the pictures they had used was Spider-Man or Black Panther, an MMA fighter. There's no that was before he became Black Panther. There's no way had or on him if he's an MMA fighter. That's just that would he swings from webs all day. Like if he were to be as a Spider-Man, things are written the way they are for a reason.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. They shouldn't be changing in any sort of way. But I think we've had a good discussion. We've almost gone an hour. Do you still feel
Awesome.
as nervous as you were when we started?
Not totally, not completely, but I it's coming out more smoothly.
Yeah, it's just a practice thing. So I mean, you'll get used to it. I put all your links. I should probably also get your Medium link for the description if people wanna check you out, so they can.
Should I send that to you? I
Yeah,
don't know if
just
I
just send it to me. I can put it in the description so they can check out what you're writing. Is there
gotcha.
anything you wanna share before we close the stream? Anything you wanna mention or talk about?
Um, I mean, this has definitely inspired me to maybe take a stab at doing my own video. But maybe I'll give it a shot. But I greatly enjoyed myself, and thank you for having me.
All right. Yeah. Hopefully you get people talking to you as well on Twitter where something good comes out of it. And yeah, I'm gonna close down the stream. Thank you guys for watching and see you guys next time. Bye.